Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso Show on SABC 3 on this Monday morning. We're talking about relationships with the in-laws. What do you do if that relationship is not so healthy? We have our relationship expert in studio, Dr Charissa Bloomberg. But first, let's head on over to you on the streets. And we asked you, if your mother-in-law is a monster-in-law, do you actually go about telling your spouse? Let's hear what you have to say.
If you're not that keen on your mother-in-law, I think it's important to tell your spouse. I mean, I did tell my husband because, well, you want to have a strategy that you agree on for making things better.
Not at first, eh? I wouldn't. I would do my absolute best to try and change that status from monster-in-law who does not like me to monster-in-law who's got my back. And if that didn't work, yeah, I probably would then put a bit of pressure on my spouse to help me fight that battle.
Of course, I will not mention that to my wife.
Monster-in-law, eh? Depending on their relationship, first of all. Some things are better kept quiet, eh? As we say in Afrikaans, a stolback is a yellback. Obviously, you need to discuss it, because some things that if you keep it in, it just builds up.
Well, if there are points of disagreements, then yes. But then not specifically call her a monster-in-law or something. We'll just try to keep it positive.
If my mother-in-law is a monster-in-law, I would definitely mention it to my spouse because he needs to know.
I think it's important that you make your other half aware of, what to expect.
All right, some interesting opinions right there. Some things should never be said, and others he needs to know, he needs to know. Dr. Charissa, this is an interesting one. Let's focus on our mother-in-laws for a second. So what makes them monster-in-laws when it comes to your spouse, maybe?
Interfering when they shouldn't be.
Okay.
Poking their nose where they shouldn't be. Trying to find information when they shouldn't be. Rocking up at your house unannounced when you're not really wanted.
Exactly. I mean, you might be busy with your own thing, So,
yes.
We got, like I said, we heard quite a number of different opinions. Some people say they shouldn't, you shouldn't tell your spouse. Others they need to know about the fact that, mom is a monster-in-law. What is your opinion? How should we approach it? Should your spouse know about it?
You said the key word, opinion. I don't think that you should give your opinion to your spouse and say, this is the way I feel, and do you know your mother?
Oh, yeah.
You should talk about the way it makes you feel. Your mom is making me feel inferior. Your mom is questioning me as a mom. Your mom, talk about feelings. And don't talk about the terms, she always, you never take my side. Talk about I feel. Because then you're holding the other person responsible. When you say I feel, they can't tell you how not to feel.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is put the other person in the middle.
Yes, and they're stuck in there and make them choose. I mean, that's the beginning of the end. Really it is.
We have a caller on the line, Geraldine from Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, my dear. I heard you've got some valuable advice you would like to share.
Yes, I have 4 sons.
Okay.
3 of them are in relationships, or 2 are married. I have 3 grandchildren. And I think the key to success is to not interfere. Make friends with your daughters-in-law. Even if you see some bad points, keep them to yourselves. They'll come to you if they've got a problem. My daughters-in-law have come to me with problems about my sons.
Okay.
Sometimes not big problems, but I mean, they'll say, oh, this, that. And I'll say, that's fine. Not huge problems, but just mentioning something. Listen.
No, of course, but it's also nice to know that the daughter-in-law entrusts you as the mother-in-law to, discuss these
or
kind
they'll
of things.
ask me advice about the kids, but I never push myself, and I never force them to come and visit. They'll come when they're so busy. And so I think sometimes the mistake that's made is the expectations are too high. They expect it to come and visit every weekend. They expect it to do this. They expect to do that.
Yeah.
Leave them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they'll come to you. Yeah. They'll feel comfortable, and we have a great relationship. But the key to it is don't interfere.
Yeah, you sound like the perfect mother-in-law, not raising those expectations.
No, not by any manner of means.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. Really appreciate your call.
Pleasure. It was lovely talking to you, and I love your show.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely Monday further. This is an interesting comment. She seems to kind of got it down, with how to deal with this.
Very clever lady. And you see, she's building the relationship by not interfering. Then the daughter-in-law comes to her. And, she's just building the right communication level. Brilliant, clever.
I love that. When should you actually go about avoiding your in-laws? As a couple, having kids, should you at any point really try and avoid them or not really?
I think we'd love to. But it's not fair on them, especially as there's grandchildren. You can't. So you have to build that whole relationship. Yeah. But when it's actually toxic, when the person is really interfering and not being respectful of your rules.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a friend whose child's allergic, so every time she goes visit the in-laws, they give them what they want, they don't listen, that's when it's, when it's not healthy. But don't cut them don't cut them off.
Don't cut them off completely.
That's not fair.
Like you said, it could be a lifelong learning curve. But I mean, we're helping you navigate the issue around the in-laws this morning. Give us a shout, 083 91 33728 right now. Let's quickly continue with your Feel Good Monday morning with the rest of the team.